Okay, welcome to this session. Good afternoon to our audience in the room and to our virtual audience who are attending this presentation live. As part of the UNESCO Global Media and Information Literacy Week, I am delighted to present two different but interconnected themes of interdisciplinary interest we have prepared for you to celebrate this week. The first theme focuses on the new definition of information literacy that will be presented by the lovely Jacqueline Geekie. We will then proceed with offering an overview of our research project on digital competencies for digital citizenship, which is a collaborative work currently taking place via the form of a survey of university students. The research involves a number of different partners, the Robert Gordon University, University College Dublin, and the Ionian University in Corfu, Greece. But first, we'll start with Jacqueline and the information literacy definition, as it sets the foundation of this talk. I'd like to actually begin with a little introduction by saying a few words about Jacqueline, who is the information literacy and learning librarian for Aberdeenshire Libraries. Jacqueline's main interests are in using technology in a creative way to enhance learning and encourage all to be digital participants. Throughout her career in libraries, information literacy has been at the core of Jacqueline's work. So she enjoys the role of public libraries representative on the Chartered Institute of Library and Information Professionals Information Literacy Group, as well as she is the digital participation champion for Aberdeenshire Libraries. For Jacqueline, working in a rural environment means that a whole week or sometimes a whole day is in the office, is actually out of the office because mostly she's outdoors. And so over to you, Jacqueline, to find more about the new definition of information literacy by the Information Literacy Group.
Thank you, Dina. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll start by just giving you a little background as to how I became involved in the Information Literacy Group. In 2014, I won a bursary to attend the CILIP conference, and the group at that time were looking for a public libraries representative. I thought about it, I spoke to my line manager, and she was keen for me to be involved. I applied, and 4 years later, I've been involved in the group and in a wide variety of professional activities, which has been fantastic. I can't get, okay. The Information Literacy Group, if I can tell you a little bit about them. It's a special interest group of CILIP. The current membership is approximately 1,500. It's mainly higher education, but there is a sprinkling of other sectors that are involved there. And with the new benefit of being able to join as many different groups, we hope to see that balance change over the coming years. As a group, we meet 4 times in London, sometimes in the north of England, and I make use of Skype because obviously getting down to London 4 times a year can be quite difficult. We have a number of products that we have. One is the Journal of Information Literacy, which is an international peer-reviewed journal. It aims to investigate information literacy in all its forms to address the interests of diverse information literacy communities of practice. It's free and requires no subscription and is published under the Gold Open Access model. So please feel free to access any of the articles and use them in your research or the work that you're doing. The next project, I suppose, that we do is the LILIC conference, which is the Librarians Annual Information Literacy Conference, and as the name suggests, it happens annually. The bursaries for attending this conference are open at the moment until the 19th of November. There is a bursary for people who are working in schools, in health, in public libraries, in further education, and new for this year, BAME. So please apply. I applied and it was a fantastic experience to attend. It's one of the most international conferences I've ever been to, and it is for researchers and practitioners alike. So you come away with lots of ideas of things that you can do in your work, and everybody is so supportive and is willing for you to use their ideas. This last year we had a buddy system which worked very well. So if you're unsure about going to a conference for the first time, you can ask to have a buddy, and that person will just make sure that you're feeling happy about everything that's going on, and that you have at least one friendly face that you know in the conference. The last thing that we have is our bursaries, and this is up to £10,000 when we have some extra funds available. We like to share that money out and allow people to do little pieces of research. A couple of Scottish projects that are on the go at the moment are investigating the information literacy of Scotland's teenagers to inform teaching practice. So it's all about ensuring that student teachers are able to embed information literacy into their work so that pupils are getting it not just from the library but also from teaching staff. And that project's going on in Edinburgh. And public library digital participation programmes, the impact on employability. And that's happening in Stirling. And that's all about people who are coming into public libraries who it's through all the welfare reform things that are going on at the moment, universal credit, they're coming in and using our libraries to search for jobs, but also so that they can keep their accounts up to date. And it was just really to see what impact are public libraries having on this group of people. So if I can take us to the background to the new definition, why did we need it and why did I want to be involved? The CILIP Information Literacy Group created this definition for information literacy to update the definition that was devised by CILIP in 2004. Obviously that was 14 years ago, and the theory and practice of information literacy has evolved considerably since then. And we wanted a definition that reflected those changes. We had been told that the information literacy definition was one of the most viewed pages, and we wanted to make sure that the definition was fit for purpose. And we felt that as we were the information literacy group, we were the best placed people to undertake this piece of work. We wanted the definition to feel more relevant to more than just higher education, and to be for anyone who uses and handles information, and not just information professionals. I wanted to be involved because information literacy had been viewed as a higher education thing, and as the public libraries rep on the ILG, I wanted the voice of those that were not in higher education to be heard. And I had very clear thoughts that I wanted it to be in plain English and be meaningful. So what was the previous definition? It stated information literacy is knowing when and why you need information, where to find it, how to evaluate, use and communicate it in an ethical manner. So a little bit about ethics, about how we find and use information, and it was perfectly functional back in 2014, but it was definitely time for an update. So if I can tell you a little bit of the timeline of how we went through the whole process, because it didn't just happen overnight. In the March 2016 ILG meeting, it was recognised that the definition was ready to be revised, and a small working group was formed, and I asked to be part of it. They and we were tasked to report back to the June meeting with a plan. We wanted our members to have input into the revised definition, so in June 2016 we launched a consultation with our members. It was a simple Google Doc where they could comment on the current definition and also what they felt should be in a new one. In April 2017, Jane Secker, our chair, and Nick Poole, the CEO of CILIP, ran a feedback session at Lilac on what attendees at that conference thought should be in the definition. People were running up and down the stairs in a lecture theatre with little post-it notes, and we gathered all this information together. Obviously, with our own thoughts on what should be in the definition, there was rather a lot of information. And huge thanks to the late Rowena McRae Gibson for pulling all our thoughts together. We were able to form this information into the new definition. We got CILIP board approval in November 2017, and then we formally launched the new definition at Lilac in Liverpool in April this year, which was lovely to see. So what did our members say in the survey that we did in 2016? Well, there was an acknowledgement from them that the world had changed and how we access and use information had changed with the huge uptake in the internet and just people being able to have information on their phones in their hands all the time. You know, we're bombarded with information. But again, they had clear ideas that they wanted clear, simple language too, which I was pleased to see. An idea about e-safety, that we had to think about, you know, responsible use of the information that we have, and critical thinking was also a clear aspect of the definition that they wanted to see. In the Lilac feedback session, the information that came out of there was again that they wanted plain language, a definition for all, not just for information professionals, and an idea that we want to have the ability to navigate information in an uncertain world. If you think back to 2017, obviously, Trump was in, and there was a whole host of new words like fake news and misinformation were coming out. So it had a real impact on the new definition. So what's new? It's not a short definition. We do have a high level definition, which is short, but we also have a secondary statement to give supporting information, further explaining what information literacy is. And this recognises that it's rather difficult to succinctly define information literacy. We decided that to make it relevant to more than just higher education, we would include different contexts to spell out how information literacy is used in each of these areas. And finally, we wanted to highlight the important role of the information professional. This is vital, especially when there has been an erosion in school and public libraries of the professional librarian. They're needed to advocate, support, and enable information literacy within their environments. Librarians don't just do this in isolation though, and definitely information literacy works best when other professionals embed information literacy into their areas of work too. So, are you ready? I'm going to give you the new definition of information literacy. So, information literacy is the ability to think critically and make balanced judgments about any information we find and use. It empowers us as citizens to develop informed views and to engage fully with society. So it is now 2 sentences long. We had a whole meeting trying to decide if we could get to 1 sentence, and it just did not work. So we finally had to give in and have 2 sentences. But it's about this idea that it's any information we find. So whatever form we use, and we find that is what information literacy is. And this idea that we're all citizens, that we want to have informed views, that we want to be able to be fully participative in society, we felt that was really important too. So I'll take you through some of the contexts. So information literacy in everyday life. Many won't recognise that they have the capability of using information literacy every day, and we do use these behaviours every day. Digital literacy is part of this. being aware of our digital footprint. What information are we leaving behind us? Even if we delete something on the internet, obviously it's still there many years later. Being able to check information online, being able to book holidays online, being able to ensure that you are on the best tariff for your utilities. All of these things is using or is the ability to use information literacy. We need to be creators of digital media and not just consumers. So information literacy and citizenship, it's about making informed choices in elections and referendums. The whole Trump phenomena with fake news, alternative facts, the Scottish referendum, general election, then the EU referendum. We had a lot of big decisions to make in quite a short space of time. And certainly with the Scottish referendum, people were saying they just couldn't find the information. But it was almost that there was too much information and they didn't know how to navigate it or find the facts that they were looking for. Again, it's being an active citizen and not just a consumer of information. Information literacy and education. Transition is the key here in being able to transfer these skills from one subject to another and from one level of education to another. So it isn't just all about higher education. We need to use information literacy within primary school, secondary school, further education and higher education. Critical thinking skills come through clearly again. We need to equip learners with intellectual strategies so that they're able to use these within their work that they're going to go on to, and ensure that they're able to use these throughout their life. So that brings us quite nicely on to information literacy and the workplace. Again, this is an acknowledgement that information literacy isn't just for while you're at university or while you're at school and that you can cite your references properly. It means that you are able to contribute to your work through effective team working, that you've got problem solving skills, that you've got analytical skills, that you're able to think critically about the information that you find. And it contributes to your ability to do your job and make a difference to your employer. Information literacy and health. Health literacy is a big topic within Scotland and England, who recognise that in order to get the best out of treatment, that patients need to understand the information they're given by health professionals. Also that they're able to source reliable health information on their condition. There's a publication called Making It Easier in Scotland, and they're encouraging health professionals to use different techniques to ensure that the patients are understanding the information that they're being given. In England, they've just released a toolkit, again, to help people with their health literacy. And in Scotland, there's a pilot with public library staff helping to support the self-management of conditions, because they recognise that people do go to their local library when they're looking for information, because they want to find reliable sources. And finally, if I could just reiterate the important role of the information professional in ensuring that information literacy is being embedded into programs and into subjects. Information professionals are vital in advocating, supporting and enabling information literacy. This work cannot be done in libraries run solely by volunteers. And to quote the information literacy definition, public librarians support the everyday life uses of information literacy in both formal and informal settings, and have perhaps one of the greatest responsibilities in supporting the wide range of information literacy needs of the public. On this badge, which Phil Bradley developed, which I thought was fantastic. It says, information professional, the owner of this card is a librarian. Bow down before their awesomeness, as they can find out information that you can't even begin to imagine. So please bow down before each other and your awesomeness. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Jacqueline. That was fantastic. It was very interesting to hear about the work of the Information Literacy Group. And I look forward to find out more about future developments in this area. So I think that personally, I found the new focus on a number of different contexts beyond education specifically a very interesting direction, which I think has a significant potential impact. It was also great to hear about the bursary opportunities. I'm sure that some people in the audience would be very keen to apply. So thank you again very much, and we'll now have a break and move on to our next presentation on digital competencies for digital citizenship, which connects, I believe, to the context of everyday life that the new IL definition is clearly addressing. So thank you again very much, Jacqueline, and also thank you to our audience. And we will now proceed to our next presentation on digital competencies. Bye bye for now, and we will see you again soon. Bye.